Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Overmind, and welcome back to another StarCraft 2 replay analysis. Today I have for you a PvT from the Silver League. Actually, one player is from the Silver League. Let me go ahead and introduce our players from the Silver League. In the top right side of the map, in blue, we have maxbie, our protoss player. And spawning in the bottom left side of the map, in red, our Terran player from the Gold League, ShawnCrahan. Since maxbie is the submitter of this game, we're going to be focusing on him and what he can do to improve his games. I do want to go ahead and note that since Shawn is his opponent, we're going to be calling him Bad Shawn for this replay. Do want to congratulate maxbie. He has moved his pylon back from where he normally places it in Terran and Protoss games. This is going to help him a good deal if anything tries to push on up his ramp. And he's going to go ahead and build a gateway. At this point, I would like to see a probe scout heading out. I know you lose the mining time, but on a 4-person map, it's pretty essential that you scout. We do see our Terran player, Bad Shawn, scouting around across the map, trying to find maxbie and kill him, as is the point of this game. You see another pylon going on over here, so he's not going to get supply blocked at all. We see him building one probe at a time, chrono boosting those probes pretty reliably. And hopefully we'll see a cyber core going down pretty quick. I do want to note, just for maxbie's own sanity, I know that it can feel kind of unfair when they put you against a gold player. Like as not, if they put you against a gold player, it's because you're getting better, because you're on a win streak, because you're looking at a promotion, because the other person is on a losing streak and is looking at a demotion, but in either case it means that you're starting to head towards the top of the Silver League, maybe even towards the Gold League itself. maxbie going to go ahead and throw down a forge, which is a pretty normal timing for him for forges from what I've seen of his games. And he's very good about getting his upgrades. That is very good. There's a scout SCV over here. Going to go ahead and take a look at all that is happening. Pylon going down at the front for vision, I believe. Again, I'm not a huge fan of things being at the top of ramps, especially since this is pretty easy to snipe. It will give him vision. If he places it actually sort of back a bit from where it is, it will still give him entire vision of the ramp, though. So right now, Bad Shawn knows where maxbie is. maxbie is getting his warp gate research like any good Protoss player should. Lots of gas being mined, the optimal number of probes having been made. He definitely wants to think about an expansion right about now. And going to go ahead and make a stalker. Gonna go ahead and head down. Expansion! Good. Also, really good idea to build a pylon a little more central to the front, and ideally not blocking too much of this ramp so your units can get between them, but this is very good. This is actually an incredibly good play. Definitely want to expand and have the ability to warp units in once you have that. Reaper gonna go ahead and be here and be annoying. Going Stalker first versus Terran is really great, because they will often try and Reaper harass, and Stalkers shut that down very, very effectively. Naturally, he is going to ping away at this building for a little while, and that's in an attempt to get maxbie to run down the ramp. So having a second Stalker out would really help. You could have one over here, and one guarding the areas where a Reaper could hop up. Cannon going to go down at the front, which I suppose will shut down the Reaper, although being zapped in the face by 2 Stalkers certainly did. And I'm a big fan of building units as opposed to worn cannons. So that's just my own personal preference. Cannons do help reinforce against incoming attacks, against drops if you're putting them along the mineral line. So things like that will be helpful. That said, mobile units are usually better defensively as opposed to static units. Not 100% of the time, not even, say, I don't know, 40% of the time. Cannons are good, but just make sure that you use them sparingly and make sure that you have enough money to make those units if you are going to make cannons. I see a lot of Bronze League players build 3 by each mineral line and 2 or 3 at the front and several along the side over here, and oversaturation of cannons is bad. But this is pretty good. This is going to help out. Now what I don't like about this is if we go to the maxbie cam, we're going to see that he hasn't seen anything of this map. He has no idea which base his opponent is at. He doesn't know if his opponent is mining casts and going mech. He doesn't know that this expansion is going down for his opponent. He has no idea if drop play is going to come up. He has no idea that there are 3 Raxes, which is dangerous if there is, say, a stim timing or something annoying like that. Ugh. Quite simply, he doesn't know too much about what's going on, and that is incredibly bad. He is going to do an observer scout, which is good, but it's pretty late. It's pretty late. Right now he does have a decent amount of money, and he's going to go ahead and use that money to build some cannons along his mineral line. This base is, what are these probes doing here? I'm not sure. I think he has all of these probes following this one probe. So there's a bunch of probes that aren't really mining. They're just hanging around that probe. Apparently that's the most popular probe ever. maxbie says having some trouble. Oh, my internet is horrible. I see. Bad internet. Now, maxbie definitely wants to be producing out of this facility. I just saw the warp gate go off. I know that he just warped things in. He wants to be producing here. And realistically, he wants to have more production buildings up. If we look at the structures tab, we see it's just that robo and 2 warp gates. He can easily afford to do more off of 2 bases, and these should be well up in mining at any time. He definitely wants to be building more probes. 16 should really be the goal for mining, and then 3 in each geyser, so he's not even close to saturating that to where it needs to be. And realistically, he's going to want ideally 3 bases, but certainly at least 2 up. He's going to go ahead and establish a 3rd base over here. It looks like I do see probe production coming up for him. So somewhere. My voice is in his head telling him to build probes. Several probes need to be transferred from this base, which I've actually just noticed. Looks like he has changed the rally point to be at his natural, but ideally you have 16 mining at a base. You've really a max of 24, and then you really don't want any more than that because it's incredibly inefficient. You don't want it at all. So definitely want to move a decent number down to this expansion, and then continue making them so that you can fill out this expansion as it's coming up, which it finally is now. This one needs to have its rally point set, otherwise probes are just going to pop out all over the place. Double stargates coming down, which generally speaking I like because air can be very good, but maxbie is not necessarily good about producing from these buildings. I am happy to see him going up on his tech and producing this nice Colossus, which is going to be great versus Terran. And air support would be great for that Colossus, as well as support from gateway units. You definitely want to have a gateway army to sort of pad those weak Colossus. We do have some units down here. How many gateways do we have at this point? Looks like there are 4 warp gates. So on 3 bases we could certainly do with more warp gates. Looks like 1 more is going to go ahead and go down though. We want to keep producing these Colossi, or really just anything out of the robo. Making anything is almost always better than making nothing. Want to morph this into a warp gate, and we want to be building out of both of these. maxbie does have the money. You can see that he is soaring in the amount of minerals he has. Again, he has 1,000 minerals. He's actually got 2 probes in each of these gases, which is good, but ideally he does want 3. Over here, he does have 3 in both of these. I actually am seeing a decent amount of improvement with these games versus games that I've seen from him in the past. He does have 24 probes here, which is a little much, a little more than he needs, but that's okay. At least he's not beyond 24. Additional gateways going down. That's right, maxbie. That's right. That's the way to go. Twilight Council down. Hasn't yet gotten the upgrades for these yet. Looks like he has gotten the increased range for his Colossus there. He's gonna go ahead and make another one. Definitely wants to keep on going with that. I personally really like the High Templar as opposed to the Colossus, but that's just totally a preference issue. These Colossi are going to be incredibly powerful against a bio force. I do want to go back to the maxbie cam, because at this point, this is his scouting. So here's what he sees. He sees some bunkers being salvaged. He sees a Thor, which is going to be good versus air. He sees a couple tanks unsieging, and he sees things starting to move away from the base. I do want to note that he has a warp gate. He has actually 8 warp gates that he has not used yet. And he's supply blocked-ish. He could build a couple probes, but oh, nope, there it is. Complete supply block there. Gonna go back to the everyone cam. So definitely supply blocking is bad. He does know that this army is moving out, so he wants to remedy that quickly. He also might consider building additional cannons and positioning these Colossi so that they could be closer here. Because if they're up on this ledge, they'll hit the army without the army having too much ability to hit them back, which is what we want. Going to have another base going down. This is actually really, really, really good. Although he could have just built additional pylons back at home just to increase, or decrease, excuse me, the time that he would be supply blocked, which is going to be very key. Naturally, as you have more production buildings, you want to build pylons and things like that faster, because you'll be able to produce units faster, so you'll get supply blocked faster if you don't. Upgrades, it looks like he has 110, which is not as good as he usually does, but it's alright. He's going to have these Colossi move in from the side, which are going to do a lot of damage. Of course, they're going to get focus fired down. I don't think he has the support from the gateway units that he really needs. He is going to back this up. Probably needs to back it up just a bit more. These units ran off on their own for reasons I don't totally understand. Units warping in on the high ground. It looks like maxbie is going to be able to clean this up. Although he doesn't have too much of an army left, so he certainly wants to produce. See, he's making another Colossus here. He wants to make more Void Rays or whatever he's going to make here. Definitely wants to get back on maxing out. He wants to get his warp ins done. You can see that these warp gates have not yet been used. Need to use the warp gate. Need to use the warp gate. Starting to warp things in. There we go. So definitely don't want to miss your warp in timings. It's going to go ahead and get Blink, which is good for things like harassment. It's also good for shutting down drop play, because you make your stalkers more mobile and make them easier to get around the map. I don't know whether or not I would personally move out with this small of a force. The issue being that whenever you attack, if you attack someone else's base, they're going to have a defender's advantage, which is, of course, an advantage to them. And they'll be able to make reinforcements right there. We do have this drop moving out across the map. maxbie probably could have protected this base a bit better by putting up cannons. Definitely needs to pull probes. Needs to move probes out. Move the probes. There we go. There we go. Alright, but the stalkers are moving away too. We don't want that. I don't think he's going to warp in quite enough to really shut this down. He's focusing down, I believe. Yes, he focused down the flying heal bus, which is a fine thing to kill, but you certainly want to kill the things that are killing you. As you do this, probably actually wants to move this army up to make sure that he shuts down this drop, because I don't think it's going to get cleaned up this way. Probably going to lose this base, which is incredibly unfortunate. do have units coming on down this ramp. Going to take a lot of damage from those Colossi. Going to take a lot of damage from those Void Rays because they can't shoot up. We're going to see maxbie take those Widow Mines out, which is going to be a big help to him since he has detection. Always want to have detection. Force fields here would be really great. Splitting this army apart a bit more effectively would make your own army a lot more effective. Looks like maxbie's going to go ahead and take another base. Yeah, maxbie. And he's going to go ahead and fight with these Marines with his Warpins. And over here we do see a GG, so he has officially defeated a Gold League player. That's right. Were there flaws in his play? Yes. But maxbie has done it. maxbie has won. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you who did watch this all the way through, I want to go ahead and stress that doing what maxbie did, which is to add on gateways and make sure that there is support for those big, scary Colossi and Void Rays and all the other tech units that you get, is pretty important, although Void Rays don't need as much support because, let's face it, they're pretty great. Little things can be adjusted about this, but that was certainly a much better play than I think I've seen in any of maxbie's other games, so a big congratulations to him. If anyone else would like their replay analyzed, you're welcome to send it to my email, noobcrafted@gmail.com. Just put replay analysis right there in the title. And don't forget to send the attachment, you guys. Similarly, if you just want a game cast, because you're kind of proud of it, go ahead and send me that too. I'll just put it up. It'll just be a general replay cast. That's going to be at the same email, noobcrafted@gmail.com. Congratulations, maxbie. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night.